I'm going to reintroduce Lee to give us a tutorial again on Sierra charts. As we do every meeting, just a quick update as to what the heck's going on in the markets before we start on this. You're looking at my charts. The similar layout is in my trading room, but only on Sierra charts. I'll get into that in a moment. What's driving the market is the same thing been driving the market: trade talk, trade worries, trade war worries, rhetoric that they're gonna get together. We rally overnight. Then German press says they're going to implement 25% tariffs on automakers. We break them. Then they rally back, and here we are kind of in the middle of 66 and 79. Why is that important? 66 even is where they were when that German press report came out about 8:37 this morning. And if I blow up this Sierra chart, that was this sell-off right here. And then they took it back pretty quickly, and that's when we talked about when you take back weakness in a very narrow time frame, there's probably strength, and there was. So this is a 12 PNF of the footprint, same settings as the one that you see with Market Delta. Again, pop in your questions for Lee about Sierra in this session. Not advocating people jump onto this platform. I'm testing it, doing my due diligence like I just said. But as part of that process, this is it, especially kind of hooking on with a guy that's more proficient in it. He's developed a lot of tools for it, including the verbal journal that works on Ninja and Sierra. And that's another feature. It's not added with these edge zones. So just to kind of give people an understanding, Sierra is pretty inexpensive. What Emoji Trading, that's owned and developed by Lee, offers per month for these edge zones is also inexpensive. There's also an edge discount that he's giving to people in my community. So if you're interested, I'm going to give you a link to go to, and the edge zone or the edge community discount that you'll put in if you go and you buy this add-on with Sierra. But first things first, you don't have a trial to it. You can go to the link I'll give you and do that. If you go and you subscribe and do everything, you could do it there. If you already have Sierra, you could just take the second option in adding these edge zones. So let me jump into, it's a $20 discount per month for edge traders. Now let's jump into this, and that's again my layout. Some of the questions first I had for Lee. Lee, let's do a sound check. Sorry, I forgot to do that. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, everyone. Hope you can hear me.
I could hear you just fine. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you, Anthony?
Not too bad. I could tell you still have your accent, though, from yesterday.
yeah, I'm trying to shake it, yeah.
That's all right. We got to get them talking like a Chicagoan. All right, so here's some of the things I wrote down. I always get screwed up with the scale, right? The scaling on the side, what the best features are. Like, I like to, how to put this? I guess right now it's showing every other tick here in the scale, right? If you look at, let me blow up this chart. So on the right-hand side is the price scale. How do I go to show, if I could just show every 4 ticks or every point?
So if you right-click on the price axis and go into the scale menu, scale settings.
And that is right here, okay.
Yeah. Then you can hard code the scale increment. So if you change that to 1, you should only get a figure every point.
And that's here?
On the right-hand side where it says scale increment. Oh, go back to constant range.
Okay, sorry. Didn't take me long to screw that up.
On the right-hand side, you've got scale increment.
Oh, in here. Oh, got it. So this would be just 1 point, just 1 could be, right?
Yeah, and you should now only see whole point increments on the scale.
This has to be changed to constant range, though, here on the left?
That's my preferred way of using it, so that Sierra chart doesn't keep automatically resizing it.
Okay. So let's see if this is what I want. So I hit OK. Yeah, I think so. I think that's better. So you could use the wheel to scroll right or left, and then there's also the track bar at the bottom. So if I click, do you keep it on interactive scale range or no?
I tend to keep it on move rather than range. Once I've got it set up to the spacing and
What
the
does move
visibility,
allow you to? I'm sorry. What does move allow you to do?
move lets you move the whole axis, whereas range compresses and expands the
Oh, okay.
axis.
So got it. So his range would just make them smaller or bigger. Interesting. But if you double click when you're on, what am I on? If I'm on range and I double click the scale, it centers it.
Yeah.
If I'm on move and
It should do the same thing, I think.
You're right.
A double click, yeah, will always recenter.
So if you have this where you want it, then you're better off on scale move.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if I like this. This for this chart might be too scrunched. So maybe I go to a half a point. So I would go to scale settings and change this to 0.5, correct?
Yeah.
And it didn't do much.
And you may want to change the font size. That's having an impact as well.
On the scale?
Yeah.
Is it the same?
No, that will be in chart menu at the top, and then graphic settings -chart, third one down. And now you got me. I think fonts. Probably the chart text.
Chart text.
Yeah, I think that's that first one that's highlighted. So then if you go select and take the font size down.
Would that do the number in the number bars too, or just the price?
Well, I think your numbers bars are set up to automatically change size when you're changing the scale.
It was on 11. Let's see.
There we go.
That's interesting. Well, this is all about playing with it and seeing what you like, right? But at least you know how to do that. Let's go to 9. Well, again, it's like then you could go back in here and go to scale settings and change this back to 1 and see what that looks like. So now I start liking it a little bit more. Just cleaner. And then how would I get these numbers to, could I get them to change?
Yeah, if you right click within the chart and go to study settings, studies either, and then go into the numbers bars.
Okay.
Then if you start to scroll down this list of settings, there is going to be an input for the font size. Let's keep going. A bit more. Here we go. So you see font size mode, it's saying automatic with minimum maximum.
Right here, yeah.
So that's why it was actually changing size as you were changing the chart scale. You could change that mode probably to fixed or same as chart fonts. So when you went into the chart graphic settings, you change the chart text to 8 and then 9. If you go same as chart font, now it's going to be 9 point as well.
All right, let's see what that looks like.
So you now need to expand the scale, of course, to see the numbers.
Nice. So now it's centered and will automatically stay within the size.
Exactly, yeah. The size of the numbers bars won't change now.
That's the cleanest I've seen it. I like that. And that will adjust when I do this? Yeah, it does. That's good. It doesn't. So far, so good. And don't worry, if you guys like this, eventually once I get it tweaked and everything, and if I'm liking it, we'll add it to this analysis, right, Lee? Is that correct to say? And it'll be in here. It'll also be available in a chart book only if you have CQG data or the same data that I'm using with the same symbol, acronyms and everything. The thing is like Lee mentioned yesterday, you share a template and a chart book within Sierra and you use different data instead of EP for CQG, it's what is it, ES? Yeah.
Hmm.
It would screw up the chart book and the layout. But an easy and good fix of that is if you have paid for the add-on of the edge zones, then all the layouts would be available in here. And he went through that in yesterday's recording on how to upload that. Now, the I like this the best. That's just a personal preference. So I'm not going to go and changing all of them and waste our time. So that answers that question. And then if I go and click in here with the wheel, I can go back and forth to go faster. I use this track bar down in here. The only thing I don't like, but there's a keyboard. I think Control End takes you to the beginning, or just the track bar. But that's good. That works. This is a 12 PNF setting, again, for the footprint called number bars on Sierra, and the edge zones, which you guys are familiar with, the red and green lines. So the next question I have, and then there's some questions in the book here or in the chat. How do I, what the hell did I write? I think I was drinking last night. How do I usually don't have a problem reading my writing. How do I link the charts? I don't think I, God bless it. How do I, oh wait, how do, no, I have to skip that one. There was a feature like, I was doing it yesterday where if I here, see how both of them are going together?
Yeah.
And that's good, but why aren't these two?
Because they're not linked. So within the charts, you go to chart settings.
All right, hold on. So I could right click chart settings. Yep. Okay.
And I think it's on advanced settings. It's on one of the advanced settings tabs. Let's find out. No, not that one. Maybe the next one. Okay, so you see chart linking on the right?
Yes.
So you create a link number and you define what that link relates to.
Ah, that's interesting.
So you've got, I presume you've got the two left-hand charts linked together for scroll position under link number 1.
So if I come over here and I right click, go to chart settings, go to advanced 2, and go to 1.
Yeah.
It'll run with it.
Scroll position.
Oops.
So you need to select that. There you go. Yeah. So now that should move as well.
Nice. And you could undo that too if you don't want that. What this
Absolutely,
is good. What this is good for, and guys in this group appreciate it, is if you're looking at two different markets and you want to go back on both of them to see how they reacted together. So that's pretty cool. Let me build another chart. Do I have to go to my main window to do that? This guy?
You could do it, or are you going to base it on the kind of layout that you've got at the moment?
No, it's going to be like just a simple line chart.
Okay, so personally, I'd go to the FS button, find symbol.
From here?
No, from the main Sierra chart window.
Up here. Okay, I was looking up there. FS, okay.
Pick your symbol, open intraday chart. Then you can close. That's it.
While I'm here, how do I detach this chart from the main window?
I think that's the window menu. And there we go, about halfway down, detach/attach window.
That's how you move it to other monitors as well, correct?
Exactly, yeah.
That was one of the questions. It shot it to a different monitor, and now it's separate from this guy. So there we are. Now let's say if I want to go to a line chart, that's under
chart settings. And on the right-hand side, you can see graph draw type.
Nice. I know you went through this yesterday, but that's line on close. All right. Nice. Now, do they have, is there a shortcut on the keyboard to change the periodicity? Like 1 minute, like it's a 1 minute right now. Can I go 2 enter for 2 minutes? Or no?
I don't think you can. What you can do, though, is you can attach a toolbar to the chart, I think, much like in the main window, where you can have a floating toolbar. So you can have like some, quick press buttons.
Oh, right.
The left-hand panel in CQG, that kind of style. So you can control what's on there and use that to change the chart periods.
So this bar, like that's up here, or this toolbar, it's up
Yeah,
here.
and I think the platform allows you to build, 8 different toolbars with different features on them.
Right.
And you can say, is it on the left-hand side, is it across the top? So it's quite easy then to put chart periodicity in there, and it'll cope with obviously times. It will cope with reversal or range as well.
Yeah,
so
the
you
ones.
can put some presets in there.
Could you help me do it? Put it on this one.
Yeah, we're going deep into my memory now, but let's try it. Let's go to tools, I think. It's not tool configs. No, or maybe it's window. I might be speaking in half truths now. Let's just try the window menu. Yeah, I'm not sure. I wouldn't want to waste the room's time while I try and remember this. But it is. There we go. Control bars.
Is that it?
So
Okay.
yeah, just pick one of those. Say control bar 1.
There it is.
There it is.
Nice.
And I think Christine's just asked the same question. So yeah, it's control bars. And then within global settings or chart settings, you can actually control which buttons appear on that control bar.
So you could adjust that, and that's in the global settings on the main window.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, you configure the 8 control bars with the buttons that you want, and then you can apply any or all of those 8 to a particular chart.
Could I overlay another symbol? So I have 2 lines with 2 symbols on it.
Yeah, there's a really powerful indicator in Sierra Chart called price/study overlay. So what you would do is you'd open another chart for the symbol that you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then on this chart, you would add the Sierra Chart study, which is called study/price overlay, and you would point it to what you want to pull in.
And they'd put them both on one window?
Yeah, and then you can play with other scales independent, or they start at the same place. So, you can really start to do some powerful things with the study price overlay. One thing I do, I run a daily chart on which I plot average true range, just so that I can get that calculation of average true range. So this is maybe a 21-day look back. But then I pull that value onto my intraday charts, but I hide it. And then I use another couple of internal studies within Sierra Charts to add the average true range to my daily low and subtract it from my daily high. So at any point in time, I've got a price projection of where we might be on the day, taking average true range into account.
Over the last moving average of what the average true range has.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. So, if I've taken, let's say, break out the initial balance or something like that, at the point we maybe traversed after an hour or two, somewhere in that region, then I'm thinking, you know what, it's probably time to start looking at the exhaustion and maybe start considering the potential of a reversion trade. So I just use it to get some context in without looking at a different chart.
Well, since I don't want to build what you just said, even though it's interesting, I just want to pull in this second chart into this chart. Is there an easy way you could show me?
So you've got ES there. Okay, so if you go to your NQ chart and you right-click and you go to Studies, and on the left-hand side, scroll down to Price/Study Overlay. Study/Price Overlay.
Is it alphabetized?
Yep. There we go.
This guy.
Yeah, so add that. And then within the settings, what you can now do, where it says study to overlay,
Mm-hmm.
if you click that or click the input value, you're going to get some drop downs here.
Well, it's not.
And
Is it this guy? It's whatever this
no,
is labeled.
it's probably going to be the last one in that list.
Number 8. Yeah, that's
which
it.
you can see in the Windows, a new one. And then if you go main price graph and hit apply for the time being.
Ah, nice.
So it's put it in a separate window, but so the windows or the regions is what they're referred to. So you can see you've got chart region 2 on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
You would change that to chart region 1 to be in on the main chart.
Oh, wait, chart region 2. Oh, that's nice. So you could have it overlay or
Chart region
subset.
1, and then you click the scale, and that's where you start to control the scale is automatic or independent. So because of obviously the price differences, you
Right.
want these to be independent.
And then how would I change this to a line? I could have done it originally, but do I have to go back
So
and do it?
if you go into the subgraphs tab, what you see it's done, it's pulled in the data from that source chart. So all you care about now is subgraph 4 last. So if you change the draw style of open, high, and low to be invisible.
To be invisible?
Sorry, you want the last to be visible, but you want open, high, and low to be invisible.
So ignore?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's kind of a starting point. But also what it's done is it's pulled in all of the styles and colors from that source graph.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go back to settings and inputs, first tab, and you can see we've got about halfway down, use styles and widths from source study. The next one down.
Oops. This guy?
Yeah, if you turn that into no and go back to subgraphs.
To apply? Apply?
We haven't finished yet. So,
Okay.
so now for the last subgraph, SG4,
Mm-hmm.
you can change the draw style to be line. Left to left, actually the draw style.
Or the draw style to...
Yeah. You know, you might need to hit apply when we change that setting. So hit apply now. Let's see where we end up.
Let me go back to this. No, okay. Apply.
Now I think we should. No, we don't get the choice.
What if I just... What am I trying to change? The line... It created a bar chart.
We've got to change the... Oh, sorry, graph draw type at the top. That's an easier way. You see it says OHLC bars?
Yes.
You can just change that to line on close.
Nice.
Fine.
That's it. But you can get creative and change a lot of other stuff if you want to plot it differently.
Oh, well, yeah. Once you start playing about with pulling data in from multiple charts, and there are various mathematical studies for, you know, add, subtract, ratio, you can really do some powerful stuff without actually needing to create indicators.
All right, so let me go. I think I want to have these back to visible. Let's just see. I don't know if that matters, but we'll see.
They won't appear on a line on close chart.
Yeah, that's right. But this red should have changed. Shouldn't it change its color to red?
No, because at the top where we've got graph draw type, oh sorry, it's last. So the close price is last. Yeah.
Make this red.
Yeah.
That still doesn't.
It hasn't done it. So if you go back to settings and inputs, Anthony, what we're also doing, you see, use colors from source study.
Ah.
So change styles to no and change colors to no. And then we're making it about as independent as it can be.
styles to no. You mean back to yes, right?
No, change it to no, because
Okay.
you want full control in this window of what the new chart looks like, and change colors to no.
This one?
Yep. And hit apply. And now if you go to subgraph, now you can start to change colors and things. And obviously you can change it back into a line on flows.
Got it.
And this gets really clever because you can do things like overlay from a different chart period type, and it will deal with how you want to match a shorter time frame to a slower time frame and this kind of thing.
And I don't want to waste. It's not wasting time because there's always things that I think you could find on YouTube videos just by typing in, right, Sierra, how to do this, and they have some pretty good how-to videos.
Yes, Sierra put various videos up. The guys at Infinity, the brokerage, and they have a load of videos out there on how to set up Sierra for out of the box basic charting right through to a lot of the advanced features. They've got a really good set of videos they've put together.
Could I close the original chart that I pulled in and still have this overlay, or no?
You can minimize it, but I think if you close it, something's going to break.
All right. At least to get a jump start on this, because I like charts like this as well for some comparing and contrasting. That answers that. I don't want to make this all about my questions because I know there's some in there. I'll go through them. I know you could see them as well, but I'll read them. We answered this first question by Peter, moving charts around on multiple monitors. You got to detach it. We did that. That's kind of an easy functionality. Christine, did we answer this one? How do you put the vertical grid lines on a chart?
Yeah, we'll give that a go. So let's go to one of your numbers bars charts, Anthony.
Okay.
And it sounds like Christine's been following the instructions, but nothing happens. So there's a couple of tricks. Firstly, if you go to the chart menu, there is a setting in this first block, vertical grid. So the first thing to do is enable that. That's
Vertical grid.
more. Yeah, so if you do that. But now here's the trick. Go to chart settings. And on advanced settings, or for advanced settings too. Now, if you look at the bottom left, we've got vertical grid lines are enabled, but the default value is days. And that trips people up. So if you turn this probably into bars and apply.
Insert.
Okay, and hit insert.
They're there. Is that what you're talking about, Christine? Or are you talking about vertical lines you could put in the time scale?
Well, remember, this is a reversal chart, PNF chart.
Right.
So time, if you could do it on time, but it's going to find the bar nearest to your division. Let's say you were doing a line, maybe you'd do a line every 30 minutes. I sometimes do this to get a sense where's the TPO boundary.
It'll take all those bars.
Chart.
Got it.
It'll pick the bar at the top of the hour and the bar at the bottom of the hour that contains that time index. And actually, it's interesting when you do this on a reversal chart because you start out with a lot of bars early in the day. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the vertical lines get closer and closer together as the activity tails off.
You could get a sense of my likings of the vertical bars. I don't. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just how you're kind of looking at it. Walk me through if I wanted to put, like, if I click down here, left click down in the time scale, get a vertical bar. Like you were just saying. But it might incorporate more bars.
Say again, Nancy, I didn't follow that.
Is there a feature where if I click down in here, left click down in here, it would allow me to have a vertical bar that I could kind of skip back and forth?
Like a crosshair. So if you
yes.
Go to the tools menu.
Just the vertical side of the crosshair.
I don't think there's a vertical one. On the toolbar, if you have a toolbar in your chart window on the main one, there is a crosshair tool for sure. So I use that quite a lot. To the left, it's next to the regular arrow, which you've got selected.
This guy.
That's it. Yeah.
Ah, I see.
So there is a crosshair. I don't think there's just a vertical line tool.
How do you get rid of you got to click the arrow. Got it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't.
That's a drawing tool. Yeah.
But can you set it where? All right, that's a vertical line. Could you fix it?
If you wanted a vertical line to a specific time, then there's a study which you can put on the chart. So if you go to studies, SW is good. You're nearly there, or right click SW. There's a study called timeline.
Let me go up this way. Time.
It's a bit further down.
There it is.
There we go. Timeline. So you can add that to your chart, and within the settings, you can specify the time. So if you want, a hard line at the open and maybe one at the end of the first hour, then you can have a hard-coded vertical line at specific times on your charts.
Got it. That's if you want it hard-coded. But can I fix this crosshairs though to just stay there? You know what I mean?
That would be a drawing. So you'd use probably the line tool. Don't think of the cross tool, but you can draw a line for sure.
Like this.
Yeah.
So it's probably important on all the charts. I'll add this toolbar to my footprint charts because there's a lot of nice quick shortcuts. And then verbal journal will also be available up there if you have it.
Yep.
As you've seen on Lee's charts. Any other questions you see? Bob's question about programming language?
Yeah, so if you're going to write indicators from scratch, Sierra Chart uses C++ as its programming language. It doesn't have an easy language or that kind of thing. So if you're going to build your own indicators or automated trading systems, you're down into coding in C++. You can construct, and if you just wanted to do something mathematical or formulaic based off price or maybe volume or even delta, they do have an alert language which they document quite well. So you can get access within the alert formula language to quite a few variables and internal data within the system. But it's a big question. It depends on exactly what you're looking to do, and then is the best approach to pull something together using various preset studies that are there in Sierra Chart, or do you go and code your own? And if you're going to code your own, you're deep into C++ at that point.
I'm answering Robert's by text. We answered Christine's already. We did it, putting the toolbar on there. They are customizable.
Yeah.
You want to show your screen for Peter's question about showing working orders and a P&L on a chart? And then
yeah, sure. Well, I'll throw something in on Sim, but yeah, I'll share my screen.
All right. Do you have an option to do that as a panelist?
Yeah, should be there.
There you go.
I think you've got it. Yep, cool. So I've lost the questions now. Bear with me. And
it says, can you see working orders and P&L in a chart window?
Yeah, I just had to adjust my window here. So there are various trade windows, of course, which float around. So we can see trade orders and positions. In terms of P&L and working orders, there are many ways to do it. It's kind of horses for courses. One of the things which we spoke about yesterday was actually trading off the chart. What I tend to do is we can have a trade window attached to the chart, and this can be on either side. So this will show your P&L in various formats. So I can have my daily realized P&L as well as unrealized P&L for a position. We can have a chart trade mode, which will show positions as lines on the chart. I use that in conjunction with the trading chart dome. So now I've got a dome on the chart. Here we go, the volume took a bit of time to appear. But now if I throw an order in, we can see that working order actually on the chart. If I use attached orders and OCOs, they're set 10 apart. We'll get rid of the confirmations, but we can see where our orders are graphically on the chart as well. These confirmations drive me crazy. Hopefully that answers the question. Okay, good. That answers the question, Peter. Excellent. In Sierra chart, there's generally 2 or 3 ways to do most things. So it's the answer is generally yes, but then my follow-up question is, what exactly is it you want to do?
Could you show maybe the easiest way to create a TPO chart within Sierra?
Sure. So if I go find symbol just to create a new chart, so we'll do ES intraday. TPO is a study within Sierra chart. So if I just go wait for data to load, if I right click and go to studies, I scroll down, they call it TPO. TPO profile. Worth pointing out as well, if I just want to see some of the levels from TPO, I can just add value area lines and POC as indicators on a footprint or regular candlestick. If I go to TPO profile and add that, it's going to calculate away, and then when it finishes doing that, we should end up with a TPO from which I can start to change various things. Okay, we've got a TPO. I don't like colored blocks, so it'll default to 2 ticks. I want 1 tick. I would want to display it as letters. That's giving us a starting point. But now, I can start to play with the scale. Of course, you can change the sizes of all this stuff and change the compression if I want my time zones to look like they're out on this chart, just running off my computer time rather than exchange time. I can explode it. I can explode all of them. Let's just fix the times on this. There we go. It was set to my computer on UK time. I like to run my charts in exchange time. So let's quickly change that. So now at least my evening session is going to make more sense. No, I still think my session times are messed up, so I'm looking at this. Or no, what I don't have is right in my settings. It's not doing a separate. It's not doing a separate profile for the evening session. That's what's going on. So somewhere down here, we're going to have. I could say exclude evening session. Now I've got the day session only. Yeah. How I tend to run it, I run it such that I've got the day session only because I want to see the structure between the days, but it's configured so that I do get the current day's overnight session. So I've got the context of what happened between yesterday's day and today, and that's something you can quite easily set up within the TPO.
This is all included in their pack 5, service pack 5 or something?
Yeah, that's right. So in Service Pack 5, you get numbers bars, footprint, you get TPO, you get volume profile, you get bookmap, historic, market depth. You get pretty much every visualization type that's out there.
Could you do a bookmap?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you use it or not, but that's some question I kept circling back to with guys. It's a feature that is included in Sierra that guys that
Yeah,
Get it like it.
I've never got into Bookmap that deeply. However, and also I probably don't have historic tick data on this machine. So what we'll get, let's see what we get. So Sierra chart calls a market depth historical chart. If I add this in, hit apply, it's going to whir away.
It's going to take the data you have and throw a heat map on it, essentially, from what orders look like.
Okay, so you can see it's only doing the depth now because I've got no recorded.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, within your data trade service settings, you can specify if you, I think it's in here, this is where you would specify if you're actually going to store and record historical market depth data. But then within the settings for the market depth historical, you can change the color intensity. We can say whether we want to see the depth. And what we should see, this is only a 1 minute chart, so we've already got 2 bars of data. If we compress this to, I don't know, 5 minutes.
So you have to specify, oh, okay. So you have to specify how many minutes, days you want to grab.
It will start grabbing this data from the point you're using a study that records this data.
So once you have it set up, it'll keep it.
It'll keep recording. And you can define some limits as to how long you're recording. For me, I do look at liquidity, but I don't only trade off liquidity. So I've experimented with these Bookmap visualizations in the past, but I also know that, the point we care about is bright yellow line. The traded volume is going to be telling us, about that bright yellow line when actually traded. It's looking at much the same picture of the world, but through a different lens.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's showing the offered, the bid offer size and what it was at the particular moment when it was taking that image, right?
Yeah, there's an interesting article I found on the web. I think it was on a vendor site. They show the same move on an instrument, and they show it using this kind of visualization, and they show it using a footprint, and they show the correlation between, let's say, here was all the absorption, here's the exhaustion, and now look, the liquidity got pulled. And that's where, as you start to look for the same moves, but visualized through, or let's say, different parts of the market, whether it's the book or whether it's what happens, you can start to see how the events come together.
But what I'm looking at right now is like that 234, the heavy, that's what's offered now.
Yeah, if we put the dome on here. So the right-hand side, you see it's matching what's in the dome. So at the current quote,
oh, right.
The numbers are in sync, but then it's aggregating up the historical depth through the lifetime of the bar.
To me, I'd be inclined to look for magnets using a heat map, like where the market has to go back to create a healthier bias. And if there's a magnet above us based on this, you should be looking to play from the long side. That's how I would start digging deep into this.
And one of my challenges with this is you end up with so much information on the chart, so many colored blocks. Although, it could be interesting, within here, you can control, I think, the color intensity. So I think you could probably be quite creative and say, you know what, I'm going to graduate the color from, let's say, the background color to maybe white on either side, because I don't actually care about either side. The price bar is going to tell me that. But I only want to see the highest intensity because that's going to be the magnets.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things you could do with it. You don't want to get information overload, which is easy to do with any software that has a lot. Doesn't mean you have to use it all, but you have options to it. So the best way to find their studies is to just go into chart studies, right? That's the shortcut to see the list of studies that's offered.
Yeah, and within here there's a huge amount of stuff. Lots of price-based indicators, of course. But there's pretty much everything you would ever come across as a visualization or an indicator in here. You know, Heiken Ashi's in here. Some of the interesting studies in here as well. I mentioned, well, we talked earlier about study price overlay, but this collection above it, things like study subgraphs, subtracts difference, an average or divide ratio. These are quite neat because here I can do things like take the difference between two studies, including the main price chart, which I'm currently on. So, I don't know, maybe I want to see the range of the current price bar. Well, that's high minus low. So if you start to think, you know, get your head into sort of spreadsheet mode a little bit, and you can start to stack these studies up and create some really neat things.
Christine's question, maybe you'd be better off reading it than me reading it to you so you can kind of understand if there's a shortcut to it.
Sure. So Christine has a volume bar profile chart where she can't change the ticks per volume bar from 5 to 1 when she goes into study settings. Is there another way to do it? Let's find out. So let's go into studies. Let's remove the market depth. And I'm presuming she's doing a volume profile. So Sierra chart called that volume by price. I have too much data loaded in this machine. I should have taken this down to like 3 days for a webinar. But let's quickly put a profile on here. So that's all visible bars, which we don't want. Let's change this into, we want this to be, over here, we want this to be multiple profiles based on, We can say start time to end time or fixed time. I think that might do it. No. Session start, session end. Of course, it's in the wrong place, but let's, at least I've got a profile here. And yeah, typically you'd set this up, well, for me, I'd have this right aligned and one profile per day and taking up maybe 5% of the window. But what I think Christine is asking is the ticks per volume bar. So she's saying hers is set to 5. We can see, like the TPO, this is default 2. I should just be able to set that to 1, apply. There we go. We see that they've become finer. We're tracking the volumes each price. So I sense Christine's, whatever reason, set to 5. It should just be as simple as taking the third input in volume by price and changing that into 1. And then we've got a volume profile. And Christine is saying by fixed price, but I'm not totally understanding the context. Well, we let Christine maybe type a bit more. Let's look at Mark's question. So is there a way to create delta bars from a volume profile and put it next to a footprint? So I'm presuming here what you want to do is have a profile of the delta next to the numbers which are in the footprint. I think that's correct. Okay, thanks, Mark. So yeah, you can do this. What I'll do, let's put the edge zone study collection on this chart. And then I'll show you how you can expand what's shown within the numbers bars. And there are some neat things you can do here.
So instead of just straight volume profile, he's talking about delta profile.
Yeah, which is a neat way, of course, to see things like absorption.
Well, that's a for those that remember, that's the session we did 2 years ago on alert levels revealed. That's what delta profile is.
See, this is my development machine. There's a lot going on, which I've just closed up.
Yeah, I get the same thing. Not with Sierra. I get it with, so far, knock on wood, the stability of Sierra has been good with the volatility I pushed it through.
Okay, that's 30 days.
Do you experience the same thing? You don't experience lags with data or anything else with some of these volatile markets we've had the last month?
No, not at all. I know I've been using it for 2-3 years. It's been pretty robust.
Very good.
So what I'll do, we'll use this. Gremlins are with me today, aren't they?
That's because you're in the UK. Your data runs a little slower than
Could be that.
here in the robust US.
Okay, here we go. Let's just do that. And also my chart period is rubbish at the moment, isn't it? Let's change this maybe to a 4 PNF.
It is being recorded, yes. Rubbish and cheers are two words I got to integrate into my vernacular. I've been meaning to do it. It's on my whiteboard.
Oh dear. Right, so let's change this to Versal 4 PNF. My session times are out, but I don't think that's going to affect what we're doing here. And just click insert. Now, I mentioned this yesterday that sometimes the calculation gets beaten versus the graphics. We can end up with some artifacts, but generally, if I hit insert, it will disappear. Of course, it won't because it wants to spite me.
It's like a spouse.
Indeed. Okay, so we've got the numbers bars here. Now, if I go into the settings, I'll try and explain what's going on. Sierra Chart numbers bars can have up to 3 columns of data for each bar. And obviously, the column might have 2 bits of data been masked within it. So in column 1, we've got this set to be the numbers bars text. And the column can base its background coloring based on some criteria. If there's no criteria, none, then we can say none, transparent. Or it can be based on a whole heap of different things. We can also set a text coloring method, and we can decide whether the text coloring is based upon this primary set of inputs for the column. You see everything here saying column 1. Or we can have, all the way down here, we can have separate colors for text coloring. But if I want to put a delta profile in, what I would say is I'm going to use column 2. So numbers bars, I don't want any text, although maybe I want to see the absolute delta, but white. Background type is going to be a profile, and what I want is an ask bid difference profile. So in Sierra Chart's language, this is ask minus bid. Personally, when I do this, I do it right aligned. So I want a right aligned ask bid difference profile. And then the coloring methods, I want to color this according to the delta. So I want this to be it's somewhere down here. I want the ask volume, bid volume difference actual. And I don't care what the level of delta is. So what I'm going to do is set the range to be the same color, whether it's positive. So I want the same shade of green for positive delta, and then the same shade of red for negative delta. And what's funny when you do this and look for absorption is you're kind of thinking upside down because you're looking for what's not happening. So now I've got a profile of the delta against the footprint. So what we can start to see, here we go. So here we can see what, 1 tick off the low of this bar, lots of selling, but we didn't get below that. So some passive buyer here was absorbing all the selling. We had big negative delta near the low of the bar, but we didn't go lower. And it's interesting. We want to see this as negative delta to understand it, but in this context, this actually is more bullish for us. And I go down rabbit holes from time to time playing with different visualizations, thinking, well, yeah, I know I've got a selling activity and it needs to be read, but the result of that is what happened on the other side. And actually, if I was going to project something out here, I'd want to know it was bullish. But you can see very quickly, you can start to put these profiles in. If you wanted to, you could put a volume profile as the background for column 1. So in column 1, I can say...
That's what I was going to ask. That was my question.
Nice. I'm on your computer, Anthony. So say volume profile, background coloring methods, Okay, we could say volume percentage. So, okay, my ranges are messed up here, but you get the idea. We could color it according to dominance. It works on the idea that there are 4 ranges between 3 values. So you can specify what is the threshold between 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, which happens here. So here we're using these comparison thresholds for our imbalance. We're looking for 1000% imbalance. But you can do the same thing for coloring methods. It may be that if we get rid of percentages and we just want to say, let's color the profile according to the delta. And that's where I need to change that into a green and this into a red. And I'm probably missing a default color somewhere, but you get the idea. I can put a volume profile in a column. I've got the actual volume data. I'm seeing the imbalance, and I see what's going on with delta on the right-hand side. And from this, I kind of look at this, and I find it interesting to use this sort of visualization on longer-term charts. You know, I run a 30-minute chart, so I can see what's happening inside the TPO using this kind of configuration, because it allows me to see things like I can start to see exhaustion as well as absorption. And then you start to see the real longer term levels for what you're doing.
So just let me ask you, so the red and green bars in the footprint are imbalances, and the ones to the right of each footprint is delta profile.
Yeah,
correct?
we've got a volume profile behind the numbers. The volume is colored according to delta, apart from these strange black ones, because I rushed this setup. And then the right-hand column, and this is why I have it facing back inwards, this is showing the delta.
Well, wait, let me look at this again. Inside that one bar your cursor is over, that's a volume profile, which is if there's more on the offer than the bid, it's red. Or is
Correct.
that the imbalance? It's not the imbalance, but diagonally.
Let's just double check what setting I put in on here. The coloring diagonal dominant. That's why I didn't want to do that.
No, and that's good though. I like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Because one's showing you
right.
the relationship diagonally, and the other is the relationship vertically.
Yes. So, yeah, this is being colored according to the current quote, which size dominant.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. The other question, and it's the same. I'm a little nervous because Mark and I are thinking the same. If you knew Mark, you know what I meant by that. But he says about could you show a composite profile of just delta profile like you did on Christine's, but instead of straight volume, it would just be delta?
Absolutely. So the volume by price study, so studies, volume by price, I'll have a quick play. So we want that to be 1. We want this to be multiple from session time. I'm going to have a quick play to set this up how I tend to do it. So I'm going to right align it. Here, this is the key point. Volume bar calculation method. You can have total volume, or we can have ask volume minus bid volume.
Oh, wait. Before you go to that, what's the other options? You also have diagonal as file. Okay, good. Keep it with the that one. Yeah. Ask.
Yep. And let's change this to window width.
Nice.
There we go.
And you could put it on the right or the left, I'd imagine, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I tend to the right. We can run multiple ones of these. We can offset the days. So I can remember, I think in one of your webinars, Anthony, you sometimes show that you've got volume profile for the day, volume for overnight, volume for the previous day, or like 1, 5, 30. So you start to stack them up with the same parameters as well.
Yeah. I do that on other charts. It's you can't get into too much information. Like you got good support, but then I try to line up the delta with the imbalance. That's why I like that immediate look that you had with inside the footprint is the imbalance, and then next to it is the
Yeah.
delta imbalance.
Yeah, once you understand what's going on here, this alone can tell you a lot, and you can make some good decisions off it.
You know, I always tell people the best way to know if it works is if it works. You know, you got to trade it. You got to try it. It's like you go back. Sometimes the path of least resistance, and we all are human. We do it is to try to find the situations of it working 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 times, and we get excited. But you got to look at the right side of the market and say, you know, what's the chance of predicting this little pop here based on what I see right now? And if there is some evidence there, and then you could do it in real time, then you're starting to build out the confidence instead of trying to have it already embedded and slapping you in the face. But no, I think this answers a good amount of the questions for today. I want to tell everybody this is tomorrow. Bring some more questions. A lot of the people in this group, Lee, are also in the trading room group that you did yesterday and tomorrow that you're going to be in front of again. So everyone, I recorded this. I'll record tomorrow, but you have some questions, live questions you want to put in front of Lee that you think of between today and tomorrow, you'll have access to them. And then as I get going, if I like it, and there's some really cool charts that I like, we could always add them to this analysis window, right, Lee?
Yes, very much so. You know, once we, you know, if there are setups, for example, you know, maybe a combination of edge zones, we want a volume profile on the right-hand side or a VWAP running through it. If these become useful, what we can do is save these as study collections, upload them to the Sierra Chart server, and then for anybody who subscribes to the edge zone indicator, these will automatically download to their Sierra Chart machine.
That's the best way to share. And then I think if this is something that I go to or a lot of people end up going to, we'll have kind of a collection of these events, or have Lee back if he'll come back during the course of next year to kind of collaborate with some of these charts and what's up there and what people like or what people need help with throughout next year, because we meet every Tuesday throughout the year, Lee. So I think that's a good way that if enough people have migrated to Sierra, including myself, is to kind of get some questions answered and how maybe some ideas out there, what to develop, what to add, suggestions for you as add-ons that I'm sure the key with development is, I would imagine, as I kind of got into with the verbal journal, is you can't expect to know everything that everybody will want. And sometimes when you get 3 or 4 common requests, you're like, man, why didn't I think of that to add? Right?
You're exactly right. Yeah, I'm, you know, on the core emoji products, I would say probably 50 to 60% of each update is down to, you know, questions from users going, well, could you just? So, you know, we add more options. From a development standpoint, over the past 2 months, I've been going deep down to order flow rabbit holes with testing and visualizing ideas I've had of, you know, how do we take this data, how do we turn it inside out and project it vertically or into a hexagon? And I've been coding things and trading with it, trying to see, well, is there a visualization that makes this stuff easier? You know, can we take a concept and visualize it in a way that makes it easier to understand and act upon? And a lot of the time, you know, that's how these things come about. You have an idea, but until you visualize it or you get a few beta testers in place, you don't know if the paradigm that you're doing is right. But certainly, as you've got a group of people understanding the same core concepts and going, well, what if we make it yellow? What if we make it a horizontal line? That's how the best products come about. Because if it's right for 30 people with a common interest, then it's right for 30,000 people.
No, that's well said. All right, so let's leave it there. You guys got questions, hold them to tomorrow. I'll record this. This one I'm not going to email out. This recording will just be uploaded to the weekly coaching sessions. Everybody in here has access to that tab on the Edge Trading Group website. So go there and give me a few hours. It'll get uploaded to that if you want to go back over some of the helpful shortcuts that Lee provided us today. And then He'll be back tomorrow at 10:30. Let me share. Could you share the link to the page on your website for access
Yeah,
to this
sure.
stuff?
Let's,
Or I could do it. I'm sorry, I got it. He put it. There it is. All right, Lee. Well, thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow, but thanks again for all your help. We appreciate it.
no, it's a pleasure, and thank you all. Hope it was useful. Bye for now.
All right. Take care. I was going to say cheers, but I held back.
Don't get me started.
There's other guys like Peter at Jigsaw, and he'll throw cheers at me.
Oh, hey, you cannot claim I sound anything like Peter. I don't understand him. I know where he comes from in the UK.
Yeah, but you guys do sound the same to me. You don't, though?
Oh, no, Peter's from the Midlands, Birmingham, as you would say. So he's more Royce. It's very different. But
No
yeah,
kidding.
Carl, thank you for that comment. Yeah, noted.
Yeah, I wouldn't know the difference. If I told everybody, hey, Peter from Jigsaw is with us today, and it was you, they wouldn't know the difference. We just listen all the same.
Okay. I've done enough impressions of you in my time, Anthony, so okay, I'll take it.
All right, Lee. Well, thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thanks all. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, I'm going to stop the recording. This will be up in a few hours. We'll see you tomorrow in the room.